Hello, friends. I have such a fun little thing I found that I just had to share it with you. I haven't even opened it yet. I just ordered this as I was dangerously scrolling on Amazon late at night, and I found this little stamp, and I thought, how cool. It looks like little swatches. So let's open it. I'm going to try it out, and I'll tell you what I thought I would use it for. So whenever I paint, I mean, you could use it for swatches too. And I think it was only maybe $7 or $6, something like that. Prime days are coming up too, by the way, guys. So keep your eyes open for that. And unfortunately, I don't have the little acrylic mount to put this on, like you're supposed to use. So I love these. They're such a cool little feel. So let's see. Let me see. 1 second here. I bought this set, but this was the biggest one that was in here. So we can at least get, oh, well, you know what? Let's do this. It also comes with this one, and I think that will fit on there. These feel so cool, you guys. They're kind of sticky-ish. Okay, there we go. So that'll work. I'll have to buy another set that would fit this one on there. All right, and then I've got my black ink, waterproof. So hopefully that will work. So what I do with all my paintings is I tend to, so here's a little flower, and then I will make a swatch. I didn't do it on this particular one on the same paper because I didn't want it on my painting, but I will do a little swatch of color values. You know what a big freak I am about watercolor swatches and values. Okay, so let's get this in here. And we'll let it dry. Perfect. Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this. So glad I found this. I'm going to ask you guys, super sleuths, if you find one of these sets. I searched all through Amazon. I'd love to have one that had bigger squares or even bigger circles. I think that would be really handy. These are a little bit small, but I ordered one last week and it was too small. Okay, so what I like to do, like I said, is I like to know my values. And when I'm painting, I like to include all the different values in my painting. So it just creates more interest. It's not so flat. Let me see if I can find a painting where I did that. Let's see here. So this one has all the different values. We've got a light value, a dark value, and some mid values. So much more interesting than if the whole thing is the same value. So here is, look at this leaf, for instance. Look at all the different values. A light value, a really dark value, and a mid value. So I always advise, especially in my beginner workshops, take your colors and swatch them out into the different values. And as you're painting, what I'll do is I'll hold this up and just make sure I included all the values, because it's so much more interesting than if I was just to paint a flat green leaf. This has so much more interest. It kind of pulls your eye in and moves your eye around. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me grab my brush here. Have my MeiLiang paints. I think I'm going to use these though. Yeah, I'll just use this little, I love this little Daisy Meeden palette. I've got all different ones because this one's really good to travel with. It's kind of small. This one's a little bit bigger. And then I've got my really big palette. Okay, let's grab, let's see what color we got here. Okay, that's a good color. So for my darkest value, let me just write it on here in case you come back or print this screen. I always start with my darkest value, and that's going to be 80%. paint and 20% water. So we'll start there. Then this one will be 50-50, and then this one will be just reverse. So it'll be 80% water, 20% paint. And of course you can have in between those, but I basically, you know, will start with these. So my first paint is going to be just getting a little bit of paint on my brush, dipping in, getting the belly of my brush, not up into my ferrule, and not going in jamming the tip of my brush into my paint. So this is going to be that 80% paint, 20% water. These are, I'm so excited. I get so excited about these little tips. So look at that. That is a pretty dark value. Keeping in mind too, dark values are always going to pull to the front of your paintings. And you'll kind of see that here. And I just cut up this student grade paper to do these on. This is a really cheap paper. I used to use it for when I was teaching my kids. So it's terrible paper, but it's great for this. Look how nice and clean and cool that is. Love that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water. So now I'm about 50% paint, 50% water. And let's do the second one. And if this is too, you know, you could kind of play with it. If it looks like it's still too dark, just add a little bit more paint. So now I've got that mid-tone, which in your florals will be kind of neutral in the center. And now I'm going to go in and I just put a lot of water on my brush, tapped it off. And here is my light tone. Light tones are going to recede to the back of your painting. It's like if you paint landscapes, the mountains or what have you in the back are always like a lighter gray or bluish tint. So if you can see here, the darker really pops out in front, the mid-tone kind of in the center, and then we've got this light tone which fades back. And I can even do, let's just do a little flower here, really simple one. There we go. Just a little simple flower. So that really pops up. Now let's do another one next to it and try to get that mid value. Oop, I got way too much paint. A little bit more. Okay, so see how that recedes just a bit? And then let's do our lightest value. So look how that one really recedes into the background. Isn't that fun? So in your paintings, always try and do a little swatch here. And boy, you guys, if you like stuff like this thing's great. I do need to find a bigger one of these. I forget what you call these little acrylic things you put your stamps on. I need to find a bigger one. So I'm going to ask you guys, because I got on and looked, I'd like to find a bigger stamp with bigger squares on it. And I'll have to find a bigger acrylic block, I think they call them. But look at how cool that is. It's really nice and neat. And this I would put on my paintings to make sure I have all those values. So when I paint, again, I will say, okay, do I have some of the dark value? Yep, there it is. Do I have some of that mid value? Yep, there it is. And do I have that real light value? If these were all the same color, the painting would look really, really flat. So this adds a lot of that depth and interest for you. All right, I will look for my link. I didn't save the link, but I'll get on my orders and I'll find the link to this stamp kit. And again, if it's also got, I don't know what, it's got some little teeny weeny stamps here, a little triangle. I don't know, I would never use these. A little circle. I don't even know if you guys can see those. They're so tiny. I don't know what you would use those for. Little dots. Oh, maybe that you would use to see how transparent the paint is. You might. And this actually is a teeny weeny stamp. It says pigment. My gosh, you guys, my eyes, I'd have to put my magnifiers on to see that. So maybe you could stamp that and then write the pigment color. But anyway, I really like the circles. I'd like to find bigger squares. And there you go. There's my little tip for you. I think this looks really cool. I love it. All right, everybody, thank you for being here with me in our little community. And I hope this is a fun little tip for you. Happy painting.